Horror films have been around for decades. Some of the most shocking and most amazing horror films throughout history have come due to suspense, music, and the building up of tension. Today I want to outline some of the big problems with horror films today. Modern horror films, whether it be the Conjuring series, whether it be Insidious series, whether it be Saw, or any other type of horror films or franchises, one of the biggest problems that these films have is that they fall into the same tropes. These tropes are not limited to jump scares, showing too much gore or violence, and the increasingly unawareness of characters within the film. The problem with some of these tropes, for example, jump scares. Back when horror films were coming out, filmmakers would make jump scares based off of music and based off of uncertainty. These jump scares did cause audiences to be scared because they used them at a time when audiences were not aware of what jump scares really were. Modern filmmaking and horror use jump scares as a tool to try to get the audience to react. And they do it more often than not, numerous times throughout the film, which makes it increasingly obvious what is about to happen and when a jump scare is going to occur. That is one of the biggest problems with modern horror films. Jump scares do not scare audiences. That is not something that scares me. It may make me jump for about 2 seconds, but then I forget about the scare. Take, for example, films like Insidious. The first Insidious film, although good, as opposed to many of the other sequels that followed it, Insidious relied too much on jump scares and creepy demonic faces or scary looking props or makeup for certain character dynamics. This is a huge problem for me because, to me, what makes a villain scary is not necessarily its look or its makeup, but just the uncertainty, the uneasiness that a villain can be. One of my favorite horror films of all time is Halloween from 1978. One of the reasons why is because the character of Michael Myers. Now, John Carpenter, when he made this movie, he was very well aware that monsters and jump scares and things of that nature really didn't scare audiences. That's not what put the butts in the seats to see horror films. But he understood that making a character so pivotal in the story of Halloween, like Michael Myers, made audiences feel uneasy. Even now, watching Halloween, it is a creepy, scary film because one of the things that they did so right and so different from modern horror films is that the villain, Michael Myers, was a man, not a monster. Making him move and walk and breathe like a man would makes it even more scarier for me as a member of the audience to watching a film, because it makes me be creeped out to be in my own apartment where I know I'm safe, but there's always that uneasiness that in the dark corner somewhere, Michael Myers or even Ghostface from Scream is in the corner waiting for me to make a wrong move. And that is the thing that I absolutely adored about older, more mature horror films. Over time, Halloween has still aged very well as opposed to many other horror films because of the way that they made the character of Michael Myers. Now, I'm not going to credit the sequels because the sequels are pretty much all garbage at this point. The new Halloween, which comes out this year, which I am very much looking forward to, I hope that they can bring back the same type of fear that they left me with Halloween from 1978. If they do, I will be very happy. If it's just based on jump scares and showing way too much in the film, I will not be happy about the new Halloween film. One of the things that I want to mention is the problem with showing too much and giving away too much about a villain or an entity in a horror film. One of the biggest problems with that is when you give the audience too much It leaves little to the imagination. That's one thing that I loved about Halloween. They didn't have to show blood. They didn't have to show really Michael Myers' face. They didn't really have to show him as a overall being. They really never show his body until the end of the film. And that is one thing that I love, because they don't give you too much. And when they don't give you too much, it makes you feel uneasy, because you have a guessing game going on in your head where you can imagine and interpret what could happen, or what that character or what that murder could have actually been like. And it makes you more creeped out. But when they show audiences way too much, you're giving little to the imagination, and honestly it takes away from the entire scare of the film, because the audience member has too much information on the character, too much information on the violence or the gore, and it really just gets rid of all suspense in the film. Building tension is one of the best things that you could do as a filmmaker for making horror films. Now, I've never made a horror film, but I know as an audience member what I like. A Quiet Place did a great job of this year. It built up tension, showing the tension between the family, showing the dynamics of the characters, showing the tension built up between each and every sound that is made. It really makes you as an audience member feel like you're in the film, going along with these characters and feeling everything that they feel and going through everything that they're going through. And it makes it such a more riveting and more compelling and more horrifying film. And that is one of the problems with horror films today. They don't build up enough tension. They try to do too many jump scares, and they try to show you everything that's happening right away. And it takes away the seriousness, the horrifying glory of what a horror film really is supposed to be. And that is why I amend films like Psycho, like Halloween in 1978, like the first Scream, like Child's Play, all those that came before it. You can make a good horror film without having blood, without having gore, and really without even having language. You don't need to have cuss words in every single horror film. You don't need to have nudity in a horror film to make it a horror film. What makes a horror film great is the way it builds tension and the way it makes the audience feel like they are on a gripping, thrilling roller coaster ride that could stay in their dreams. And have those fans like me that feel that in every dark corner there is a horrifying villain ready to strike. These are my thoughts. Make sure you go like and subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.